Yo, what up? Welcome to Smash Talk. I'm your man, Rolan Bluntz. It's Friday, April 9th, 2021. You hear it in the background, playing my man X. This is the official DMX show. If you didn't hear, in case you didn't know, or in case you thought it was a joke, my man Earl passed away this afternoon due to complications from his drug overdose. The world is saddened right now. I'm a little saddened. Like, you understand, Earl X was one of the people that influenced me to actually be a rapper. I mean, listening to him, I wrote a lot of rhymes, listened to a lot of his beats. I've met him a couple of times, you know. He was very cool. So, like, right now, I do feel a little hurt. I'm a little emotional about it. Can't believe it. He's 50 years old. You know, he's a good man. I mean, you know, he made some great music. It's one of my favorite tracks as I'm playing in the background. So tonight we're going to do something different. If you tune in and you're in there and you're in the room, you're on the channel, don't be scared to go down the little corner down there in the bottom, type in your favorite DMX song, let me know what it was, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to be on here for a little while, talking about my man X, you know, trying to see if we can get some other people in here, say something, drop a comment on a track or something, you know. It's not going to be one of them funny shows like, you know, like normal. It might not even be one of those greatest shows because I'm doing it by myself, but here we go. So first off, let's listen to this for a little bit more because this is the jam right here. This is the first X song anybody ever heard, and I swear to God, this is like one of the best there was. Not my favorite, but it's one of the best there was. So let's get into it. Okay, first off, as always, this is Smash Talk. It's unofficially tonight brought to you by this big ass bottle Long Island iced tea. Just so y'all know, I've been getting fucked up. All right. So the world today is like really is crazy. Like nobody knows what to do. Nobody's knowing what to say. Like it just came out the clear blue. We heard, you know, X overdose. He was in the hospital. But apparently, you know, conditions got worse. He had no brain activity for a couple of days. You know, his body was starting to deteriorate. So they finally made a decision this afternoon that I can't say shocked the world, but really upset the world. I mean, you know, there's not many rappers you'll hear me talk about and put them in the category of one of the best out there in the world. But X was one of the best rappers. You know, regardless of his personal demons and things like that, his music was one of the best. He was one of the best rappers out there. As I said, when I first started this, X was one of the reasons that I got into rapping, like just listening to his style, listening to him flow. You know, it really appealed to me. And I was like, you know what, this sounds like something I can do. I wrote poetry before. And, you know, after listening to his album and seeing that he had a whole bunch of different things about him, you know, like those prayers on that album was something that you never really expected to hear from a rapper. Like you never really thought a rapper would bust out and start busting out prayers and stuff like that. But X was a very religious person. You know, a lot of people probably don't know that because of the, you know, a lot of the things that he did and a lot of stuff that went on. But X was a very religious person. You know, he was a good man and he will truly be missed. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like he's gonna truly be missed in this industry. I mean, there was a lot of people could say X had a lot of problems and stuff like that, but music-wise, wasn't nobody really going out like X. I mean, you know, you're talking about a man who literally made a whole fucking song, not really the whole song, but like just a whole 16 bars of nothing but female names and put it in a song. So, yeah, this man, you know, he's going to truly be missed. He hadn't made some music in a while. He was focusing on doing movies and stuff and trying to get his shit back together. But, you know, the saddest part is that I kind of wish that maybe there could have been somebody around that maybe he could have talked to more often. Somebody to help him exercise his demons inside. Because it's hard, you know, when you out there and you famous and you really feel like you have nobody to talk to about what you're going through because you feel like everybody is looking up to you and you know, coming looking at your advice and what advice you're giving people. So it's hard to like, you know, focus on what's bothering you when you're trying to stay strong and focus on other people. I mean, I've seen 1,000 messages out there. And I've seen some stuff on the internet today that I didn't even know was out there where X, you know, put up like TikToks or Instagrams or something like that, where he's just making little spiritual and comments, little instrument, you know, comments to get people to enjoy themselves, not to take the world so seriously, to understand that, we're all children of God and we all have things that we have to do. It's one of the things that I respected. Even though he's out there running his mouth and he says some wild stuff, he cursed and all that, the man really did have a spiritual background, between his spiritual background, his belief in his children, his love for them. Like I said, you can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, he was young. He went out and he did a lot of things when he was young. A lot of people looked at, and you just got to look at it. He was young. And as he got older, he started to change, and he started to show people more and more that, he wasn't that same person. And again, like I said, your own personal demons sometimes can hold you down from doing things in life when you feel like you can't get help with them. But yet and still, he tried his best to hold it down and hide it and do what he can for other people. So, I got to give him that kind of respect. I met X in Harlem when his first album came out. Shortly after his album came out, him and the Rough Riders, before the Rough Riders were famous, they were all on the quad bikes that came down to Harlem, down by 145th Street and up towards the Rucker Park. Just riding around. He was riding around. He was giving out autographs. He was throwing out CDs. He seemed like a really cool person, and again, when you first hear him or you hear about him, it's like everybody want to focus on the bad shit and the crazy shit that he did. And yeah, again, like I said, it comes from your own personal demons, but you cannot take away the fact that the man, he made an impact. His music made an impact. His music was something that got a lot of people through the 90s. I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook. A lot of people saying a lot of his songs got them through. Slippin' was one of the greatest songs out there. I feel like Slippin' was one of those songs where if you felt bad inside, you listened to it and it kind of made you feel a little better. You know what I'm saying? My favorite song was Damien. So yeah, X had a lot of stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? He was doing a lot, and right now I'm still a little taken back by it, because I feel like, yeah, we knew he was out there. We knew he was on the drugs. We knew this, that, and the third. But you thought that maybe he got his stuff together. We saw him on Ayala, Fix My Life. He's trying to get himself together for his new fiance and get himself right for his kids. So right now, the whole industry is going to be rocked by this. But I feel like because of what he's done, and because of how people viewed him and his music and stuff, he should be celebrated. I don't think that there should be anybody in the media, in the news, anywhere that tries to look at the bad sides of things that happen. And we all know that this is going to happen because, well, this is how the media is. Somebody can't die and be looked at as some kind of light and inspiration without somebody going, oh, well, at the same token, he did this and he did that. Yeah, but, sometimes you got to let shit go when you look at it in the long run and the big picture of things. Like I said, he was a very charitable man. He did a lot of stuff for charities with children and things like that. He tried to get his life better for himself and his kids and his wife, his new fiance, who I really feel sorry for, because you know what? They were just getting a life together, and she just lost him. So yeah, and it's just not going to be the same. I've said it before, that the music industry is not the same as it used to be. And it just seems like all the people that made music what it was are just going, Pop, Big, now X. It's just crazy. It's really just crazy out there right now. But you know what, though? You celebrate somebody's life by remembering all the good things they did, by remembering the fun times that they had, or how they made you feel, or how something they did made you feel. And, I'm not going to sit here and cry over spilled milk. Yeah, it's sad, it's hurtful, but if you sit down and you look at it, when Biggie died, I sat down and I cried. I didn't even really know Big like that, but I cried. I was hurt. And I feel like, you know what? That's not really going to get you anywhere. The person is gone. Yes, they're gone. You're hurt. But you know what? Celebrate their life. Celebrate the good things about them. Celebrate the things about them that made you happy with them, or about them, or for them. Celebrate the things that they did that made you feel good, especially when you're a celebrity. Because when you're a celebrity, you try to live and show the public who you are. I mean, like I said, I know sometimes when you're young, you can't really do it. We've all seen and heard on the news how some of these young celebrities go out and wild out and things like that. But there was a point where when that man started getting this, like the grays in his beard, like me, he sat down and he realized that it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. It's time to show people that you know what, you can fix your image. You can be a better person than what you started out to be. And I'm always going to be grateful for him for that. You know what I'm saying? Like showing people that you can make a change, showing people that, there's something else there and that there was another side to him besides just what we saw on the news or what we saw in rap videos and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I can sit here and talk about X for a while. Like I said, he was a great influence on me. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't really hold music like that. So there's just a few musicians who I can say really touched me growing up, and X just happened to be one of them. X really was one of those people where I was like, you know what? I bought every album. I watched every video. I've seen almost every X movie. Like any movie he was in, I've watched almost all. There's a few of them I haven't seen that are on Netflix right now, but I've seen like most of X's movies. So, I was a huge fan. And like I said, I figure to get through it, instead of sitting down and moping about it, being sad about it, celebrate the man. And I said the same thing when Prince died. Celebrate the man. The man, it wasn't like he was a bad person. It wasn't like he was out there, he did drugs, but it wasn't like he promoted kids to do drugs. Like it wasn't like he was promoting kids to do the things that he was doing. Again, when you have your own personal demons that you just can't work out, some things happen. But you can't hold somebody against that when you see them trying to do better for themselves. And you see them trying to do better for the community. And that's one thing that I can respect is that after a while, he decided, you know what, let me use my voice to try to make the community better. He did a lot of messages, left a lot of prayers. Again, he was very spiritual. And that's one thing that surprised me. Like I just took it the very first album when he had that prayer, I just took it as, oh, that was just something you did, yeah, whatever, was nice, this, that, the third. But if you notice, like every DMX album, he has a prayer. Like every DMX album, at some point in time, the music stops and there's a prayer or something. The man really was spiritual. And he, I feel like he really did intend on trying to do good. Like, he really wanted people to see the good in him, not only just the good in him, but just the good in general. I give it to him. He definitely repped Westchester County. He was born in Mount Vernon. Grew up in Yonkers, White Plains. So he definitely repped up there. I know everybody up there is hurt, torn apart, and things like that. There's a big visual that was going on up there. I wish I could have made it, but I couldn't make it last night. But at the end of the day, the only thing we can do is, again, celebrate him and not persecute him, not look at what he did, not look at, oh, well, he had these problems and these issues. Everybody got problems and issues. But you know what, though? At one point in time, there ain't nobody out there. There's nobody out there that's around my age right now that can't say that there is not one DMX song that they ever listened to that they didn't like. I mean, you probably didn't like a lot of the stuff he did, but I know there's at least one track that DMX made that, so, that everybody got that one track they know all the words to. And they just put it like that. So, I'm hoping that his family is going to be all right. I'm concerned. He did have children. I know he loved his kids. I know they loved him. His ex-wife, his new fiance. There's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. There's going to be a lot of things out there. And again, as we know through the media, there's going to be a lot of shit said after that man is buried that should just be left alone. But for the time being right now, let's just have fun. Like I said, one of my favorite X tracks was Damien. I love that track to death. I like, that song was just like one of the strangest songs because it's just like, he wrote a song where he pit himself against himself. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, I felt that song because a lot of people do that. A lot of people will put themselves in situations where they pit themselves against themselves and they just don't understand it, or they don't want to accept that, oh, you know what? I'm split in this decision. I don't know what to do. You know, you have the good side and you have the bad side, but most of the time, you know, people try to, you know, 9 times out of 10, try to deny that, you know what, your bad side runs you a little bit more than your good side. And that's what that song basically was letting people know, is that, you know what, everybody has a bad side and a good side, but your bad side is going to run you a little bit more 9 times out of 10 than your good side. And, you know, that was one of the songs that really appealed to me. How's It Going Down? Love that song. Love that song. That was to me, that had to be like the Harlem anthem. Is everybody I knew played that song when it came out. And again, like I said, I know this is not going to be one of those. It's not going to be one of those 9 times out of 10 funny shows, because right now I'm not really feeling funny, but I do just feel like I want to speak my mind. And since I have a platform, my platform is made for me to speak my mind. So I'm going to speak my mind on the situation right now. I mean, I wish I could take light of the situation and, you know, be the cheery kind of person I normally am when I'm on camera. But like I said, I can't. I can't. I grew up with this man, you know, listening to his music. You know, sometimes you know, you don't feel something, or you don't feel a connection to something until you see that it's gone, or you hear that it's gone. And we have connections to music. So when an artist that we have a connection to passes on, yeah, you know, you kind of feel it. But it's one of those, again, it's one of those things that you don't really realize until you actually go through it. Like, you know, I was like, yeah. And then when they said he overdosed, he's in the hospital and he might not make it, then I started going, wow, you know what? X got me through a lot of stuff in life, a lot of his raps, just his songs, and listening to a lot of stuff that he said, you know, it got me through a lot, you know. Party Up. Those were those songs that, you know what, when you felt down, you just put that on and you just couldn't help but to move and dance and party. No matter how you felt, when you played Party Up, you was good in there. You know what I'm saying? So I just, you know, like I said before, anybody out there, you know, don't be scared to go down to the corner, type in, tell me what your favorite DMX track was, you know what I'm saying, how you felt about the man, things like that. You know, it's just to show, to celebrate and show love. I'm sure there's days from now, people will see this, and I just want everybody to know, you know what, not all the time do I come on to bash people or say bad things, or I love to have fun, but you know what, sometimes you got to be serious. Sometimes when things happen, you got to have conversations on it. So it's one of those conversations that I wanted to have, you know, not only to talk about him, but you know what, to let other people know too that, you know, it doesn't hurt to get help. It doesn't hurt to try to find somebody to talk to if you feel like your own personal demons inside are eating you up and you feel like you have nowhere else to go. I mean, you can always pick up a phone. You can call a friend. You can call me if you need to talk. Like, I really, you know what? Because I feel like situations like this could maybe have been avoided had he had more of an outlet, you know, somebody to talk to about the way you feel inside. Don't get me wrong. I understand, because you know what? When I was growing up as a kid, yeah, I damn near almost the same thing. You know, I had demons inside that ate me up. You know, I used to get picked on for being fat, you know, things like that. It used to eat me up inside as a kid. And I dealt with it in the same way that a lot of other people deal with it. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, you know, I was a drug addict and this, that, and the third. But, you know, the sad part is, at 13 years old, I was an alcoholic because I just didn't want to deal with other kids picking on me. I would cut out of school at lunchtime and go pay a wino to go buy like some Mad Dog 2020 and sit there and drink with them all day until the end of school, just because I couldn't deal with it. And I had nobody to talk to about my demons. You know what I'm saying? And there was sometimes I feel like maybe if I could go back and change that, I would. Maybe if I go back and change that, I wouldn't have done a lot of the things that I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you feel like you can't do it and you hold it in and you find other destructive ways to handle it, that's really not good. You know, I mean, a great man is gone now because he had demons inside that I just personally feel like he just felt like he couldn't work out. And if you feel that way, like I said, there's always somebody that you can talk to somewhere. There's numbers you can call. I mean, you got to have a friend somewhere that's always willing to listen, a listening ear. I mean, yeah, I'm against putting your whole life on Facebook and stuff like that. But if you feel like your demons eating you up and you need to rant on Facebook, I'm quite sure somebody will read it and go, you know what? This person needs somebody to talk to. This person might need a hug. This person might need this. This person might need that. You know, anything to keep you from harming yourself because you can't deal with what's going on inside right now. You know, like I said, I've been through that. And I think it's sad. He was 50 years old. The man still had a whole life to live. And the demons eat you up. And when I see things like that, it makes me feel bad because you know what? Sometimes I still do that same thing. Sometimes I wrap myself up and I feel like the personal demons that I have inside, no one can understand. No one will, I can't talk to anybody about it. So, I embellish myself and I'll drink extra. I'll smoke more, things like that. But you know what? At the end of the day, what's that going to do for you? It's going to make you feel good for right then and there. But the problem is still going to eat you up. You could drink and smoke and do drugs until you forget about what's on your mind at that time. But later on in that day, later on in that week, later on in that month, it's going to come back and it's still going to be there. So, I just feel like, again, it might be too late for Earl, and I wish I from the bottom of my heart, I wish that there could have been something else that handled it in a different way. But anybody else who watches this video, anybody who sees this after I go off the air, anything, if you feel like you really have personal demons is eating you up, if you feel like nobody else will understand what you're going through, believe and trust me. There's always somebody you can talk to that will understand what you've been through. There's somebody you can talk to that's either been through what you've been through or been through something like what you've been through that can talk to you. Because you know what? We are losing way too many, not only of our young stars and stuff, just people in general, due to the simple fact of a lot of people just feel like I don't want to put people in my business. I don't want to talk to somebody. I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. But you know what? Open up. Opening up doesn't hurt. It can save a life a lot of times. I'm not perfect. I still have demons inside of me, but you know what? I found an outlet. I found someone to talk to. I have somebody that I can talk to when I feel that way. The other day I was on the verge of trying to do something crazy, and I just sat down and I prayed to God and I called my friends and I talked to my friend, because you can't just keep that bottled in. All right. Like you can't, when you feel like there's no place else to go, there's always somewhere to go. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, when you feel like that, talk to God. Now, I'm not against that either, but sometimes I just feel like you want to talk to somebody that's going to talk back to you. You want to talk to somebody that's going to give you some kind of comforting advice or comforting words to make you feel better at that time. And when you don't have that, that's when 9 times out of 10 you start wanting to do the silly things because you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're just trying to feel better at the time. And we do these things. But again, seriously, like drugs, overdosing, hard stuff like that, that's really not the answer to personal demons. I mean, like I said, yeah, I know it feels good. I'm not going to sit here and lie and be a hypocrite and say, oh, don't do it. And then, people go into my past and say, oh, but you did this and you did that. Yeah, I've done it. I've been there. I'm one of those people that's been there. And I can tell you, it doesn't really help. It doesn't help. We end up in the situation that we end up with now. You know what I'm saying? Like a man gone and like I said, there was no other reason. It wasn't like somebody put a gun to his head. It's just when you're alone, when you're by yourself, especially when you're by yourself a lot and you have to deal with these personal demons that you can't deal with, sometimes you just don't know what to do. Sometimes you just go back to what you naturally normally do. A lot of people drink, a lot of people smoke, a lot of people shut down and just stay introverted and be by themselves. But these are things that you have to change, because if you keep doing these things, you're going to still keep being in that rut. You're going to still keep having those demons that's eating at you, and it's not going to help in any kind of way. So, again, like I said, I feel like if there's anybody out there who feels like you have issues or you feel like you don't have anybody that you can talk to, you can talk to me. My Facebook page is Rolan Bluntz, ROLAN BLUNTZ. All right? You can leave me a message at any time. You can leave me a message right here on my YouTube page. I check my page every day. Anybody that feels like they need somebody to talk to, if you want to feel better, you don't want to end up going through what we're going through right now and everybody feeling the way we're feeling right now, because let's remember this. Not everybody who overdoses or things like that is a celebrity like DMX. Not everybody will have that coverage for people to feel bad for them, for people to, some people just die in the street. Some people die in the house. Some people just, every day. And you know what? It's that one person that you see is looking down that you could just walk up to and just say, hey, everything is going to be okay. Like I said, I know in this society that we live in now, people don't want to walk up to strangers. Nobody want to talk to a stranger, this, that, and the third. But do you know the greatest thing that you could ever do for somebody? The greatest thing you could ever do for somebody ain't got nothing to do with money or none of that. The greatest thing you could ever do for somebody is to give somebody a hug and tell them they are loved. That is the greatest feeling that anybody could ever feel in life. And you know what? If we started doing that more, maybe we would be better off. Maybe more people would want to open up and talk about their demons. If we as a society listen more without criticizing or condemning people for the things that the way they feel or the things that they do, and just try to understand more, maybe more people will open up about the way they feel inside and want to talk about it instead of trying to handle it in ways that are counterproductive. That's just the way I feel about it. I could be wrong. I could be talking out my ass. But that's the way I feel about it. I feel like, we need to find ways to help people, or to find ways to just be more of a caring society, especially now with COVID and everything that's been going on, the president we had for the past 4 years. Like this world has really gone to become a shit show. So, I could understand when somebody is feeling something inside and they feel like they don't have anybody to talk to, because you know what? It's like, I already feel bad, and I don't want to bring my demons to somebody else and then they criticize me for the way that I'm feeling. Nobody wants to be criticized when they don't feel good. Everybody wants somebody to talk to. Nobody talks to anybody because that's the first thing we feel, is that this person's going to criticize me for how I feel. And that's not something we really want. You don't want that. You want to talk to somebody and you want somebody to understand and give you some kind of advice that makes you feel better in some kind of way. You don't want to be criticized or I told you so or da. Those things don't help. That's not helping a person inside. It's not going to help a person want to open up to feel better. That's just going to make a person sit back, be an introvert, and handle it the way that they normally handle it until, like I said, something counterproductive happens. Now, I want to keep up with the news because I would like to find out what they're going to do, like a funeral or whatever. I definitely would go. I went to Biggie's funeral. It was, who was that big? I'm not going to say it was a shit show, but that was just huge. Everybody, it's like everybody in Brooklyn was out there. But yeah, I'll go to X's funeral. Like I say, he was a good man. I met him a couple of times, and yeah, he never showed me any ill will. To be a person, when you meet somebody and they don't treat you in any kind of ill way and they don't know you, that goes to show you that that's a good person right there. Like, regardless of what they do, that they have good intentions in their heart. Because a lot of people who don't know you just won't fuck with you. But somebody who don't know you that decides that and they fuck with you and they don't know you, that's a person that has good intentions in their heart. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what may have been going on personally, he had great intentions. And those are the things that we always have to look out for. Sorry. But like I said, getting back onto the subject of X, again, his music is I would say it's gonna be missed because I don't think that he was done. I think he could have went back in the studio and made more music. The man was a lyrical genius. He could have, at 50 years old, he could have still been rapping. You know what? And people would have still bought his music at 50 years old. A 50-year-old rapper, I know it makes no sense, but you know what? X is one of those guys that could have pulled that off. And I truly believe that. I truly do. So there's a man who will be missed. And again, like I said, again, it comes back to that same subject. Like, we don't want to end up in the same situation doing the same thing. And like I said, not all of us are famous where if our demons get to us, we have people out there that can turn the news can turn on us, and then there's people that can come and say, oh well, let me help you with your demons. Sometimes people have demons that they have to get out or they need to get help for, and you need to actually just go out and ask somebody for help. Just like I said, talk to a stranger. Talk to anybody that you feel at that moment in time will help you exercise what you're going through. Because doing things like this and overdosing yourself on drugs because it makes you feel better at the time, again, that doesn't work. Because this is what happens. You start out, you do a little bit. You're doing a little bit, and it makes you feel good at that time. Then the next time you feel bad, what happens? Now you got to do a little bit more because you don't feel the same way you did the first time. Now you got to do a little bit more the next time, and a little bit more the next time, and a little bit more the next time. And when does the line draw? When do you reach that point where you're like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to do this. Maybe I need to do something else. That's the thing that you won't see. And again, for anybody that just joined the room, like I said, I know it's hard because when you feel like there's something inside of you that you want to get out, you can't because you don't want to be criticized by somebody. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I know nobody wants to be criticized. Nobody wants to feel bad. But you know what? Like I said, it always helps to talk to somebody. It always helps to do something other than relying and saying, you know what? Let me go get this bottle. Let me go drink this Hennessy, and I'll feel better tomorrow, and I'll think about it tomorrow. Because then when tomorrow comes, guess what? You're not going to want to think about it. You're going to go get another bottle of Hennessy. And you want to keep drinking, and then boom. Now you're in alcohol coma, or your liver's been failing, or something like that. So yeah, let's go out and try to exercise our demons. Always, it never hurts to talk to somebody. I mean, everybody gotta have that one. Everybody has that one friend that they know that they can talk to that just won't criticize them. Everybody has that one friend that's just a lending ear. Whether they want to give you advice or not, they're there to listen. And you know what? That's the person that you need to get in touch with at that time. Is anybody that's there to listen. And if you feel like you don't have that friend, then guess what? Go to a bar. Bartenders are paid to listen to people's problems. It might not sound, you might not believe this, but they actually are. They're paid to do more than just pour drinks. Like, bartenders are, they're paid to listen to people's problems. Like, if you just need somewhere to rant, because a lot of times I feel like when you have that demon inside of you, if you rant about it, you'll feel a lot better. Because when you hold it in, you feel like, I can't tell nobody, or I don't want nobody to know, or this, that, and the third. That's just eating you up inside. And the more it eats you up inside, the madder you get, and the more you think that you just need to do whatever it is to get your mind off of it at the time. Sometimes people don't handle it the same way. Sometimes people don't grab a bottle. People don't grab drugs. People don't grab weed. Sometimes people just feel like, well, you know what? I'm angry. The only way I'm going to settle this is by hurting somebody else. Again, these are all the same points, and these are all the same things on why I said you need to find another way to get it out. Like, just talk. The greatest thing you can do, the greatest thing you could ever do for somebody is to walk up to somebody. You don't have to know them or not. Just give them a hug and say, you are loved. That is the greatest feeling that anybody could ever get, is to know that somebody who does not know them still considers them a person that is loved in this world. Because you know what? That person could be the person that got the demons, and that simple gesture is enough to make them feel better, at least for that time being. I think about these things a lot because I've gone through these things. I suffer from depression. I suffer from anxiety. Things like that. So I think about these things a lot. And after this situation happened with DMX, it made me sit down and think about me, because I was like, you know what? This could have easily been me. I could have easily done the same thing. I could have easily just been like, my demons have eaten me up to the point where, you know what? I just want to sit down and drink. I just want to sit down and get high. I just want to sit down to the point where the world doesn't exist anymore. But at the end of the day, what does that solve? What have I really done besides deteriorate my body even more and not solve the problem? I mean, when It's all good to drink. I'm not, I'm never one against that. But when you excessively drink and you're excessively drinking because you're trying to solve a problem, you're just deteriorating your body even more. So now we as Black people already have one of the lowest vitality rates of living as it is. I mean, between just the rough life we live and shit like the police and things like that, we have a low vitality rate. So you want to add to that now by destroying your body because you just feel like you have no exit, nowhere to go, no place to talk, no one to talk to. Like they have suicide hotlines. They have a lot of things. They have a lot of places. I'm not even going to look. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to be ashamed. I've called there before. I've been to that point where I felt like I had nobody to talk to. Had to Google it on my phone. Had to call there. Sat down and had a nice conversation with somebody for about a half an hour. Made me feel better about myself that day. So just don't ever think that the answer to your demons is to sit there and poison yourself even more because that makes you not think about what's going on. I mean, I would hope that again. After a day like today, when anybody is feeling that way, you'll sit back and you'll think, you know what? X showed me the light. Because even though he is not here, knowing that, you know what, I don't want to go down that road, God, and like I said, it's bad to say that, but I don't want to go down that road because of the fact that I feel like I have no one to talk to. Then that should make you want to get out and just be like, you know what, let me change it. Let me find somebody to talk to. Let me do something. And you know what? I'll even make it even better. You don't even have to talk. There's a lot of times you don't even have to have anybody to talk to. Get yourself a journal. And I know it sounds pathetic. I know it sounds bad. Like a grown person. Get yourself a journal. Get a little book. It don't even got to be a journal, just a book. Where every now and then when you feel overwhelmed, you write those feelings down. You write exactly how you're feeling at the time. You write what's making you feel that way that you feel. And you read it back to yourself. And that and a lot of times will help too, because you know what? You're still ranting. And you may not have to rant to somebody, but you're ranting and you're getting that rant out of your body. You're not keeping it inside because it's just going to eat at you more and more and more. And like I said, you're either going to do something to hurt yourself, hurt somebody else, or end up being a hateful person in the end. And it's just not good. It's just not cool. I mean, it's not cool when you could just reach out and ask for help or reach out and just talk to anybody. I know it's hard. I know things like this. I know it's extremely hard to reach out, especially to like when you're going through things, but people, we gotta swallow our pride. Gotta swallow our pride, and we just gotta, we gotta go out there. You gotta do what you gotta do. Because again, as I said, this could have been avoided. I feel like this really could have been avoided. Just like somebody knows that he was going through something. Somebody take the time to sit down and just be like, yo, Earl, talk to me. What's going on? How are you feeling? Like I see that you're not yourself lately. I mean, before somebody breaks down to the point where they're at that point, you can know there's signs that you can notice. If you pay attention to people, there's signs you can notice when you can see that somebody is on the verge of breaking themselves down. And those are the times when I feel like those are the times when if you're that person that notices that, then that's when you should step in and say something. We're not accountable for other people's actions, but I feel like sometimes if we know that somebody is feeling bad and we don't do anything to help that person, maybe we should be accountable for what that person has done to themselves afterwards, because you know what? We had the chance to help and we didn't. Again, I look at life a lot differently. I've been through a lot of things in life. And to be honest with you, I wasn't even going to put this show up today. Like, I wasn't even going to do a show until next week. Last show I did, I said, I see you in 2 weeks. But then this happened, and I started thinking about it during the day. And I was like, you know what? I have a public platform. Whether people tune in religiously or tune in when I'm live or tune in after I post a video, I have a public platform where I feel like I need to take a stand, and maybe I should open my mouth and say something. Yes, I want to celebrate the life of this man because this is a great entertainer. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I also want to make people aware of the same facts that, you know what? Yeah, we got, if you feel that way, then find some way to let it out. Find something to do. Find someone to talk to, something, because we're not just losing our entertainers. We're losing our own people. We're losing people in the street every day. And it's a statistic that a lot of people look at and go, you know what, they make these things up and da. You realize depression runs more through the black community than anything else? Than any other community. Like, depression runs through the black community more than any other community. And I feel that is because we just don't take the time to talk to one another. We don't take the time to try to make ourselves feel better if we see somebody feeling down. I mean, I've been there. I've been a victim. I mean, not a victim. I've done the same thing. I've walked by. I used to walk. Well, let me say I used to walk by bums all the time and not pay them any attention. And then something clicked in me and changed and said, you know what? That person, you can't help how that person is down on their luck. You know what I'm saying? If you have it and you can help out, then try to help out, because you know what? Helping helps. If you can help somebody else, it makes you feel better. And I don't know about a lot of people out there, but I know me personally, if I know I can help somebody else feel better, that makes me feel better, because you know what? I've done what I'm supposed to do as a human being. Because as human beings, we're just supposed to help the other human race along. Okay? Now, let's get back to the subject of X. So, anybody else out there want to go to the services when they're announced? I mean, I'd like to see y'all out there. I'd like to see everybody show as much support for this man as possible. There's probably only a few rappers that you hear me talk to, like you would probably hear me talk about like this. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of rap like that, but there are a few rappers who influence me to the point where I feel like, okay, if something happens to them, I'm going to be there to support them. I'm going to be there and whatever it takes to, be there for them. X happens to be one of them. Biggie was one of them. Pac was one of them. Eminem is another one of them. Yeah. So I don't want anybody to take from this video that I'm doubting anything, or that I'm being like facetious in any kind of way or anything like that, because I love X. And for that reason is why I'm sitting here making this video and telling y'all that, you know what, don't try to fight your personal demons by yourself. Like, go out and try to get some help. Go out and try to find somebody or find something to make you feel better. Find some kind of exit other than something that's non-productive, something that's not positive. Yeah, I know a lot of times when people are feeling bad, we don't want to be bothered with anybody, but sometimes you got to open up to somebody, because if you don't, you keep it bottled up inside and things like this happen. And we don't need things like this happening. Like, I quite frankly feel like I want to see as many people around for as long as possible. I'd like to live until I'm 100 and change. All right. Yes, I'd like to. Probably won't happen, but I'd like to. I like to see people just prosper as long as possible. And if there's anything you can do to avoid situations that could be avoided, then you know what? Try to help out as much as you can. That's the best that I can say. That's the advice that I can give for today. And as I said at the beginning, this might not be one of those shows that was extremely funny, but today was one of those shows that was extremely knowledgeable. And again, I'm an open ear. My ear is always open for anybody who wants to talk, anybody who has a problem, anybody that wants any kind of advice, needs any kind of thing, anything. If you need any kind of help like that, you want to talk, you feel like you got nobody else to talk to, just realize you could talk to me. All right? I've been through it. I know how it is. I don't judge people. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to hear you out, and I'm going to understand what you've been through. And I'm going to try to give you the best advice that I can give you based on how I feel about how I would want situations and people to handle things with me. As always, I appreciate everybody who tunes in. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate the comments, all the follows and everything. And I want everybody to know that even though, like I said, I have my own demons inside that I need to work on, I'm going to work on me so that I can always be here for you. Now, when I first started this, I started this in some, you know what? I'm going to try to get famous on YouTube. But you know what? It ain't even about getting famous on YouTube anymore. For me, it's just about me doing this because sometimes things happen and I just want to talk about it. I just want to get it off my chest. I just want to share my views and let people see how, let people see real people's opinions on things. All right. I'm not no made up celebrity. I'm a real person. I wake up every day and go to work. I got a kid, so I give my opinions based on real life. And again, this is one of those real life situations where it's just like, you know what? Let's not keep it bottled up. Let's all go out and let's try to find some way to make humanity last. Let's help people if we can, And on that note, let's lighten up a little bit because I'm about to start tearing right now. So I also heard in the news this week that the mayor and the governor have promised that the beaches and pools will be open for regular service by Memorial Day. In fact, Coney Island is opening up next week, so gives everybody something to do. Finally, we can finally go back to doing halfway normal crap and get our minds off of a lot of things that's going on out there. What's your views on that? Like, how y'all people feel to finally be able to go back to the beach? Like, I mean, it's crazy. They were like, you go to the pool and wear your mask outside of the pool as long as you're not in the water. So I can understand that. And I understand what's going on with the world. But it's just good to know that we're getting back to some kind of normalcy with all the stuff that's going on right now. I mean, like, if you think about it, a lot of things have happened. And there's been a lot of people died today that just weren't publicized. It wasn't as famous as DMX, but there were some stories in the news. One of the head writers from Saturday Night Live passed away. There's been a lot of stuff that's going on. So I feel like if we can get back to some kind of normalcy, let's try to get back to some kind of normalcy, But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. Right? We're all people. And I would hope that in some way, as a person, you're the kind of person that feels like if I see somebody else feeling down, it would kind of make me feel bad and you would want to do something to help. I can't make anybody help anybody, but I can just ask and say that, you know what, maybe we can make this place a better place if we started being better to one another. Those are my thoughts. Those are my views. This is the way I look at things, and I try to make I try to make the world a better place. I have an 11-year-old, so I want her to try to live in a world that's not what it is right now, and something that hopefully can be better in the future. But that's how it goes, and these are the things. These are the breaks that we have. So now, let's get the DMX tracks. Let's start talking about his music. Let's talk about some of his better tracks. Now, I see that there's some people in there. As I've said, don't be scared. Tell me what your favorite DMX track is. You know what I'm saying? Just right there in the corner. We comment. We can talk about it. I've already said my favorite track is probably Damien 1 and 2. Then of course it's How's It Going Down. That was the Harlem anthem when I lived out there. And after that, it's probably Where the Hood At. I love that song. I play that song in my car every day. So yeah, there's not too many tracks that I can sit down and say I did not like by DMX. Yeah, it was a bunch of, he had this track called Rain, but that track was hot. Slippin' was a very hot track. You know what I'm saying? So it's not too much stuff that I heard by him that I'm gonna say I didn't like. You know what I'm saying? I was a fan. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I was a bandwagon fan. I'll go to any DMX show. I'll listen to anything DMX was in. Like any track he was on, I've heard. I've heard the Money Inc. track with him, Jay-Z and Ja Rule, the track he was on with Onyx. I've listened to every DMX track. There's probably not one DMX track out there that I haven't heard unless it's something new that he did before he died that I don't know about. So, yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just hoping that, people look at this situation and see that, don't down the man for how he died, but look at it and go, you know what? Maybe the demons inside could have been prevented with some help. Maybe he could have still been around, things like that. These are the things, these are some of the things that we think about, because I don't want at the end of the day people to just be like, oh, well, DMX was the drug addict and killed him, and overdosed and killed himself. The man had demons. This is exactly what happened. Like, sometimes you gotta get help for these things, and if you don't, they eat you up inside to the point where you have nothing else to do. But if anybody takes anything from this video, after you watch it, just understand this. Enjoy your life. Live it to the fullest. Try to always be as happy as you can, because those moments when you're down and you're sad, those are the moments that are going to shorten your life. If you keep living your life on the points of being down and sad, and you're looking at all the things that make you upset all the time, it's going to shorten your lifespan. So, try to look at the bright side of life. Try to always see the silver lining in clouds. And like I said, if you can help somebody out, hey, the most important thing again that you can do is to give somebody a hug, let them know that they're loved, that they're important, that they mean something to somebody. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to hug them, you don't have to hug them. You could just write something. If you know somebody on Facebook, you can write something on every day on Facebook, like, hey, just understand you are loved, you are important, you mean something to somebody. Little things like that mean a lot more to people than what people may think. I know a lot of people think, yeah, right. But you understand, there are some people who little things like that, like a person like me, little things like that brighten my day. If somebody texts me out the clear blue and go, hey, good morning, just letting you know I was thinking about you, you are loved. Little things like that will brighten my day more than anything else in this world. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. A little thing like that to me is the equivalent of not seeing my daughter for like 3 weeks and finally getting to see her. It means the most to me ever. You know what? So, try to always start your day with a smile, and try to always put a smile on somebody else's face if you can. I've been Rolan Bluntz. I am Rolan Bluntz. This has been Smash Talk. Once again, DMX, we love you. Rest in peace. Always have your eternal rest, and enjoy yourself up in heaven dining with kings every night. Again, I'm Rolan Bluntz. This has been Smash Talk. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again later, all right? Love you, Squishy. Peace.